Namaste to all our viewers in Bharat and outside of Bharat. Welcome to yet another episode of The Show. The Show presented by Kala in association with Let's Talk. This episode is being recorded and will be shared on YouTube channel of Kala at Sanjay Chandra 5376. Please subscribe to the channel to view more such conversations. Our guest today is Kanika Sharma. Welcome to the show, Kanika. It's such a pleasure having you
Thank
on
you.
the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
Let me give a brief introduction of Kanika. Kanika Sharma is an alumnus of Sri Ram College of Commerce and Hindu College, University of Delhi. She joined the corporate industry as a learning and development professional. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she seized the opportunity to externalize her passion for writing, starting with non-fictional essays and then moving to fiction and other formats. A voracious reader, Kanika loves to review books. She has extended her storytelling skills to her YouTube channel and delivers talks on YouTube and on youth and mental health issues at prestigious institutions like Hindu College, All India Radio, and other Instagram platforms. She also interviews indie authors and women entrepreneurs. So,
Thank
welcome.
you for the lovely introduction.
So, let's begin our conversation.
Yes, yes, sure.
Perfect. So my first question to you is that, they say that writing is a gift of God, and very few people have that. In that case, why is it that there are some authors who publish their first book in their 20s or even before 20s, and there are some who do that in late 50s or 60s? Why is there such a gap between a gift that has come from God?
No, I think yes, the talent may be inherent. You can say it's a gift of God or it is something that you have honed over the years. But I feel that I'm a firm believer of divine intervention and each thing having a, specific time of its own. So I feel that, it's it's very much in my case. I think the circumstances automatically happened such that it favored the chances of my writing. The thought of getting published came into my mind at the opportune time. So I feel that everything has a time and a time of its own totally. So it's completely that for me.
Okay, I think what you say makes a lot of sense because if we go in our Indian philosophy and our heritage, it talks about this aspect is that things happen exactly at the time they are destined to happen and not before or after that. So your
Yes.
thought process, I think, aligns with that. The second thing I wanted to know from you, since you have now three books to your credit, you have contributed to various anthologies, you write poems also. So what are the qualities of a successful author?
Well, I think author is there's a subtle difference between writer and author. I mean, you can be an author after you've published your book and everything, that you are author of so and so book. But I think for a successful writer, you need to be very observant of people, of situation, of emotions. You need to be a good listener because I think most of our stories, most of our thoughts come from our surroundings, from the people we know. The characters in our books are also the people we know, we've met somewhere in the life. So you have to be very observant, a good listener to know what are the emotions a person is going through, because you cannot write about them unless until you empathize with it, you feel it in depth. So yeah.
Okay. You think these qualities can be acquired or they are again, as I said, God given?
Well, I definitely inherent tendencies are, of course, as we are born with or God given, you can say. But even if something like, let's say I'm not a good listener, for example, this is something, if I'm diagnosed with it, or if I'm aware of it, that this is my problem area, one can always work. It may not work as naturally and as magically for someone who's born with it, maybe, but with time you will, like, at least be able be good at that area. So yes, थोड़ा फर्क तो पड़ता है of having it naturally versus acquiring it or working on it.
Mm. So I think two things, as I see it, is that one is that you have to have that quality, like for example, as you mentioned, ability to listen, and then the second quality that comes into play is that actually to connect that with your story and capture that in your story, and that I think
That's
becomes more
right.
critical and more important.
Absolutely.
So, the other thing I wanted to know before we go to your journey as an author is that do you think in India, author writing can be a full-fledged profession?
Um, well, to be honest, I feel that resources are less as of now. I mean, it is still very much better if I see from 5 years down the line. 5 years from now, like back in 2020, 2019, 2018, it was way more difficult, I would say. Now, with self publishing coming in, of course, there is opportunity, but I would say a lot of it is not organized properly. A lot of it is very commercially operating solely from an angle of money making. There are no laws or not major, organized. I would say protocols that save the right of author. So to for in India to be a to for a parent to say, okay, my child can pursue writing or can become a writer if he or she or they want, is a very long journey because that risk-free environment needs to be created, and it can be partly, of course, the government and infrastructure can help, but partly it is us also. As authors, also, I think we kind of tend to get impatient and at time, and ओके चलो ऐसे नहीं हो रहा ऐसे कर लेते हैं ये नहीं हो रहा पेड करा लेते हैं and all that. So I feel that as authors also we need to stand on our ground. We need to put our foot down and ask for certain basic things, you know, because it is very shocking for me that traditional publishing is no longer like is very rare in India versus if you in UK, US, there are still leading brands who are like doing traditional publishing, giving chance to new authors. But in India, there's a like shortcut. Nobody wants to risk. Nobody wants to invest in new authors. So easy way out: invest your own money. Will put up a ISBN number on your book and we'll print it for you.
Mm.
So that's the thing. That is wrong. I feel people in India, fortunately, the middle class is growing. There's no like everybody can afford a little bit of this thing, but it is not about affording. It is not about resources. It is for me. It's very plain and basic. What is wrong and what is right. I feel there are so many people who cannot afford. So so it should not be the only option left for them if they have the talent, if they are good in what they do. That either we are selected by Rupa, Penguin, or anything, or we have no option but to self-publish. And I was shocked. You'd be shocked to know. I was talking to an author friend of mine the other day. Even the big five, even the top five may say bhi, there are some brands, not all of the top five, but a few of top five, let's say two or one, have come up with something called that wherein they will give their brand name. These are traditional publishing, mind you, I'm talking about. They will give their brand name, but then you will have to invest a 50% or X percent or whatever. So, there's no definition of
Mm.
traditional publishing that is left there. So in this scenario, it is easy to blame, I think, the government or the brands themselves, but it is us authors who are enabling this kind of a situation. Had we put our foot down, had we stand for our own rights, I think to come back to your original question, writing in India would have been a full-fledged business by long now, but unfortunately,
Mhm. So you
so yeah,
talked about growing middle class, and that growing middle class happens to be the one which has money power and which actually is using English as their medium of communication and conversation. Why do you think that
right.
today, when there is a money power with Indians, they
Mm-hmm.
are not investing that in buying the books or cultivating their reading habit? They don't mind spending money on multiplex and other things. But when it comes to buying a book, I find that they are very, so to say, not willing to let go.
Well, I think, see, the answer to this is not very subtle or not very short. It traces back to a long, long time. See, historically, we've been a very rich country, culturally and everything, we were the one with Nalanda and everything, so much of books, so much of books. So I cannot say that as Indians, we do not have the habit of reading, because historically, culturally, we were very learned. We all know about Aryabhatta and our astrologers and the predictions. So we were very learned. We had all our Vedas and everything is in the form of manuscript. But the tragedy happened along the line. First, the Mughal Inquisition, and then the British Inquisition, and everything, half of it was destroyed. And then when we were finally let go of, when we were finally freed, independence came, we were so busy to kind of, you know, kind of look for the mess that they had created for us. They had given the state to us in that reading, a habit of reading became a very, it became like a very luxurious thing to think about. Like the thing was about survival. You had to stand on your feet. You had to have a job. You had to feed your children. There was no ration. We were importing third grade ration from Russia and US. And, I'm talking about when Nehru ji became the prime minister. So it was way down in our priority list. And over the years, it just became a thing where, India and Indians are just, they're struggling. They're using whatever they can to make their ends meet. And now, even if they are in the comfortable position, the habit is such that it is no longer a priority. Reading or investing in reading, it is long forgotten. That's what my analysis of the situation is, I feel.
Okay. So looking at the current situation, do you think there is a hope for a better future in, let's say, next 10 years or 20 years?
Well, I think hope is something everyone should keep. So definitely, I am hopeful and I am positive. I feel that, especially with, again, if self-publishing has a downside, I discussed in the previous question, but it is for the credit of self-publishing that people have come back to writing. Anyone who feels that has a slight inclination, they want to write, they want to type. And obviously, if they are publishing so many books, if they, the books are grammars are reading so many books, there is some kind of a promotion that is happening. And the thing is that now, earlier you used to, one used to think, especially if you're writing in English or even if you're writing in Hindi, one used to think that you need to be grammatically very sound in whatever language that you are writing. There was no in-between place for an in-between colloquial Hindi or a colloquial English. Yeah. But now I think people are just writing in whatever language they speak as you speak. It does not have to be a Queen's English or a Premchand's Hindi to be, that precise or perfect. Yeah. So I feel people can connect more easily. Let's say not everybody, you have to understand that not everybody is a person who can understand the lexicon of a Shashi Tharoor and can go through his books and, enjoy it. There are people and it is good. But there are people who are very much enjoy Chetan Bhagat because it is simple, it is relatable, it is in the language that they speak often, English mix or whatever. So I think in a way, it may not be a very intellectual capsules that we are consuming, but in a way, I feel at least reading habit it is promoting. So yeah.
Perfect. So now coming to your journey as an author, is that you started writing or you started publishing during the COVID lockdown. I want to know, why is it that you suppressed your talent prior to that? Because you had a talent prior to that as well.
No, well, so again, I think I was always a reader. I was fortunate that I came from a family where everyone was a reader, like all my aunts, all my uncles on the maternal side, paternal side, my parents. So all of them have an inclination of reading. We had a Delhi library card, a Delhi Public Library card. So I was always a reader. Now I enjoyed this thing, but I never thought of it that maybe I could write also, or I want to write. Like that realization was not there. It was just that, this is something I like to read. But in COVID, I think the isolation the isolation made you think about a lot, because there was no, again, like I said, 9 to 5, you know, stomachs to feed. It was taken care of. So you had a lot of time to introspect and think. And then I think it so happened, like the first question we talked about divine intervention, right? Everything has a time. So I just saw anthology submission wherein I think it was Rupa or something, some big publishing house, who were giving chance to newcomers in form of an anthology, that we will have a story of yours in our book, which is to be compiled for multiple new authors. And if you want to submit, you can do that. So and so, social media was coming, Instagram was becoming popular, all these business use of Instagram was happening. So that was all new for me, because prior to that, see, the problem comes from the fact that there is no awareness. The question that you asked, that in India can writing become a full-fledged question, it also in a way answers that. There's so much lack of awareness that as a learned person also, I used to consider myself as fairly learned at that point in time also, but I had no idea. I thought that I was not aware that this could also happen. I thought that, oh, it's a बहुत time लगता है. You have to send multiple manuscripts, and you have to kind of, go kato chakkar of their office, and then probably they will reply. So I can't do that. This is not my cup of tea. I said, no, these people are also opening doors, giving opportunity to new people. You need not be a Chetan Bhagat or a Shashi Tharoor to have a Rupa or a Penguin label on your book. So that was the first time. I tried and I did not get selected. But that just opened the vistas for me, windows for me, that I could like think in that direction. And then I just thought that maybe it's a time, and so many feelings of loneliness, of fear of death, you are suppressing in COVID, right? So I thought, let me just externalize it. And I'm an introvert. So I am not able to like speak to the people that easily when I meet them in person. So I thought, let me just externalize whatever I'm feeling in form of writing, and that is how I started writing. So yeah, that is my journey.
Okay, that's very interesting. So I think there are many authors who have come on the show, and at least I can recall five at least started their journey as an author during that period. So COVID, although it has had a very dramatic or destructive impact on the lives of people, it
Yeah,
also had one silver
a
lining, which
silver
is
lining.
that
That's true.
it helped people discover the latent talent in them.
That's true. So many, not just writing, so many vloggers, so many YouTubers, you see, they have started from that time. Today, they are big YouTubers, and they started just out of boredom. That कुछ नहीं करने के लिए चलो यही करते हैं. And it clicked. And it made them realize their passion. So that, yeah, I mean, that is, we have to give that to COVID.
So you talked about this aspect that awareness is not there, is that you also can actually approach the publishers and things can move and they can move fairly smoothly. What is it that can be
Hmm.
done, or how do you now create that awareness so that the budding authors today, those who are thinking about it, their journey
I
can be
mean,
faster?
well, I mean, thanks to people like you and Sanjay ji, thanks to platform like Kala the Show, you call, authors on your stage, you give them a platform wherein you ask them to tell about their journey, you listen to them, and via you, so many people, so many aspiring authors will also be listening. So I at least make sure on my part that every time if I am on a show, I talk about my publishing journey, what were the challenges. I try to be honest about it. I try to share the differences I feel, that what are the benefits and what are the cons of traditional versus self-publishing. Because the third one of my book, Creepy Crawlies, is a traditional publishing by Hachette, and that too, a globally, commercial publisher. So I make sure that, see, I don't want to gatekeep anything. If it can benefit anyone, why not share it with everyone?
Yeah.
So I just do my bit. And I think every author does. So yeah, that is helping in awareness.
Okay, I think that's a good uh, initiative that you are also taking, because that definitely will help many authors realize their dream, because this is a dream, passion. So,
That's right.
yeah. So now coming to your journey, you are a writer as well as you are a reviewer. So when you are reviewing a book, how do you make sure that the writer in you does not bias the reviewer in you?
Well, that's a different thing altogether. I think I don't mix up the two, but as a person, like my personality is that I'm a very critical person and I'm very self-critical also. So that is there. I am not really, whenever I'm reviewing a book, that is why I do it very less also. I do it rarely for family and friends because I don't want to offend anyone. But if I'm reviewing it, I'm very hard to please. I'm a very critical reviewer. So that is there.
Okay, okay. But that does not create an issue for you when you are so critical and so rigid, or not rigid, but so tough, so to say.
It does. See, sometimes authors and they do get offended. But I feel if I'm not honest to my job or if I'm not honest to you also giving a feedback or what I felt, then it is not fair. Because as friends, of course, if they ask me to review their book on their platform, if they want me to put up a story and say, go check out this book, I do that. That's my friend part of it.
Hmm.
But if you want an honest opinion, I mean, I need to tell what I found really good and what I found not so good about the book. So I'm not and a lot of reviewers who do it for my book also, I welcome it. I have always accepted all the collaboration on my page, and it does not have to be a 5 star. I mean, I'm glad that the response so far have been very, very, very good. Touch wood. But even if has been a case, and there has been a case or two that person said that okay, I found this a little not good or whatever. So I welcome them. I said it's okay. It's your honest feedback. So I think I don't know. I just believe in this.
Okay. So I had asked you a question, ki what are the qualities that successful author should have? So what should be the qualities successful reviewer should have?
I think I would say honesty, an honest feedback. A lot of reviewers, I feel nowadays, it has become about partnership and collaboration. A lot of them, they get this thing, books and etc. from the publishers themselves. They send it as PR copies. Now I feel that is the reason also that I do it for hobby. Like I'm not a bookstagrammer, because if I make it my profession, then if I have to earn from it, if I want PR copies from it, then I would do a pleasing review, right?
Hmm.
That would not help as anyone. Like so, yeah.
Okay. So does reviewing helps you in your journey as an author?
Well, yeah, not reviewing per se, but I think reading. Because whenever I read, I also imbibe what I want to take away. Oh, I can write like that. She or he has so beautifully emoted the emotions of romance or heartbreak or whatever, or the punchlines. But I feel comedy is not one of my best suit or my pursuit. So I feel that comedy, whenever I read a comic book, I feel, oh, she is so good in punches. I should maybe take away from that. I also take away what to not to do,
Hmm.
and what is like very obnoxious about the book. I don't want to ever try this. So
Hmm.
yeah, it helps you, become aware.
Hmm.
Definitely.
So it complements your journey as an author.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So coming to your first book, Bikram and Vitthal. So I found that title
Okay.
itself very interesting. Why did you select Bikram and Vitthal as against the traditional Bikram and Betal?
So well, I don't know. Off lately, I've seen that a few of the big publishers have launched their own versions of Vikram and Vital with different authors. But I really thought that I wanted to be a modern day version or modern day take on Vikram and Vital. So I thought that maybe if I'll keep the name change, there would be like, some incorporation of the fact that the story is not entirely just that folklore and inspiration has been taken, but there is a modern day twist to it. And the line says with a modern twist. So I just felt that I need to do that word play. If I would have used that entire play, maybe people would have thought that okay, she has probably reprised the same folklore and narrated in her own words. my book is just inspired because the antagonist is in the story is a Vetal, is a roaming spirit of a Vetal, but it has nothing to do with the original story. It's just an inspiration, a take or a twist, we can say. So I just thought that maybe that would make it easier.
Okay, very interesting. And second question related to that book itself is that why did you select horror as a genre to write your first book? Why not, let's say, romantic or comedy?
I like I said, I feel that those two are not really my best suits. I think as author, you also it's a very experimentative thing. You get to know in time what you are good at. So initially, I thought that horror would be a good idea because I'm a very big consumer of horror. I love reading horror. I love watching horror. I love listening to horror podcasts. But I even when writing, I enjoy writing it because, like I said, I'm a horror buff. But I realized that I am naturally my inclination, and I'm naturally good at writing slice of life, writing poetry, writing emotions. That does not have to be a romance between a traditional romance between a couple or a girlfriend, boyfriend, or a college setup. But I I write very beautiful scenes between two females in a train journey, each with their own sorrow. They just met, and as females, they can recognize that what the other person is going. So those kind of things, those kind of emotion between a mother and a son, emotion between a student who has left his country, gone for abroad for studying, and suddenly he's realizing the whole, his Delhi, the whole time he has, whole his life he has cursed Delhi, but now he realizes. So
Mhm.
those kind of things, it comes very natural to me, and I'm effortlessly good at it. Versus horror, I have to really like hone my skills, put up my thoughts, and write it. But I still write horror because I like it.
Okay, okay, that's very interesting. And so my second question is that you have contributed to various anthologies, and you have
Mm-hmm.
your own book, memoirs, which is short stories. So is there
Mm-hmm.
a difference when you are writing for an anthology versus writing your own book?
No, no, no. I just give up whatever my 100% of the feelings and everything. There's no such difference.
So it doesn't matter really whether you are writing as
No,
part of.
no,
Oh,
no.
okay, okay. Then coming to your third book, that title itself I found very interesting. Maybe you can talk about the title and then talk about the book little more.
Well, the original name that I had thought for was Creepy Crawlies Checklist Checked. So what I thought that I would create a list, an entire list of entities that can creep people out. Let's say a
Mhm.
chalawa from India, and that is what the premises of the book is. A chalawa from India, a jinn from Middle East, a ghoul from somewhere else, a vampire from US, and what could be the possible checklist of all the creepies, all the things that make you crawl? I will put it in this book, and that was the name. But then it was getting too short, long. So my publisher suggested let's just keep it. Let's just call it Creepy Crawly. So what we have done is this is in the part one we have kind of discussed a few basic like 10 urban legends or folklore from around the world, and we will continue to delve in different folklores from around the world that we have not mentioned in this checklist, or just in India, we have so many of urban legends and folklore. We will have a separate book on that. So yeah, so there's a lot in mind, but for now we have 10 different stories, 10 different characters, 10 different entities haunting these characters. So yeah.
Okay. And how has been the response to the book?
Oh, Touchwood, it has been very good. I have received a lot of appreciation because the stories are short and each story is different from other. The engagement is quite good. The youth, like we were discussing, the reading is now, unfortunately, is no longer a habit, what used to be. So, people are enjoying this, engaging in this. Oh yes. So I was saying that the response is really nice, and I feel because it's a short story, and each story is different from the other, so it is very engaging. I feel that's the best kind of compliment that I've gotten from my readers. that it is very easy to read on, and it is very easy to kind of connect with each story. And I think I'm also blessed with one of the best publishing supports. So they are very kind, and they are sending it for people to review, and a good review always like makes a lasting
Yeah.
impact. So that is also happening. They're making sure that it also reaches different bookstores in different cities. The wider the audience it can reach. So I think that is also like really great.
Okay, that's very encouraging. Very encouraging. So now, briefly, what are your future plans? What should we expect from you in, let's say, next 24 months?
Well, a couple of things are in plan, or in my vision at least. Like I said that, this is just part one. So this is not the entire list that I wanted to create. So of course, there are some entities that are remaining that I want to talk about. And, there is also a solo India, focusing on just Indian folklore, a book that we want to create. So that is that. So that is there. And third, I think I am also trying to push my boundary, push my limits, and write something that I'm not comfortable with. So I think a rom-com is something I'm also like writing a chapter on. So that is there. So
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic. I think that means we should expect a lot from you in near future.
Oh yes, hopefully.
Great. So, Kanika, you know that as part of the show, we also have a rapid fire round. I'm sure you are going to enjoy that.
Okay.
Perfect. So,
Sure, sure, sure. Please go ahead.
should we start?
Yes, yes.
So, first question to
Yes, yes,
you.
of course.
Yeah, to you, COVID lockdown is, complete the sentence.
Outlet for writing.
Perfect. Choose one, being an author or being a reviewer.
Author.
The best compliment you have received.
That your book is really engaging.
Great. The best compliment that you have given.
Um, it made me laugh
Perfect. The
because,
last,
like I said, I'm hard to. Yeah.
the last question. Kanika Sharma in 2047 will be.
I think living on her own terms.
Okay. Perfect. So congratulations. You have won the rapid fire round 10 out of 10.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So that was Kanika Sharma with all her enthusiasm for life and so many plans that she has for her future. And she shared her experience as to can an Indian author be a full-fledged, can it be a full-fledged professional? And those views were very interesting. And I think that is something which all of us need to think about and ponder. That was Kanika Sharma for all of us, sharing her views on qualities of being a successful author. Can writing be a full-fledged profession? Her role as an author, as also a reviewer, and her fantastic journey as an author. That brings us to end of our today's episode, the show presented by Kala in association with Let's Talk. In case you missed watching this episode or would like to watch all our earlier episode, please subscribe to the channel of Kala at Sanjay Chandra 5376. Thank you very much for joining today's episode. Stay curious, keep reading, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much for having me, Vardhanji, Sanjayji, and this platform, the show for Kala. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.